The 2-2 again. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. The Rays win. Rays win. Now the pitch. Swing and a fly ball to the gap in right center. Kiermaier coming over. He's going to make the catch. Verdugo's going to tag. Here comes the throw to third. He is out at third base. They got him. They got him. What a throw by Kiermaier. And did the Red Sox just run themselves out of the eighth inning? Table is set for the Rays. A leadoff double by Darno. Davis on to run for him with great speed. With the infield back, or the infield back and the outfield back, the pitch to low. Swing and a fly ball down the left field line. Toward the corner. It is gone. Rays win. Rays win. Rays win. Nate Lowe with a walk-off home run. He goes Oppo, and he's called a team meeting at the plate. Rays beat the Red Sox 5-4 in 11. Now the 0-1 to Lowry on its way. Swinging a ground ball to second. This should do it. Aki has it. Takes it to second himself. This improbable season has another chapter to it. The Rays are going to the World Series. Rays beat the Red Sox 3-1. Rays win. Rays win. Rays win.
And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to your RBLR Rays podcast, or show, I guess, because we're on YouTube now. I'm Ben, and with me is Zach. How's it going, Zach?
It is. It's going good. It's hard not to get, emotional listening to what we just listened to. It's still surreal that's we're only going to get to hear replay of his voice now. It's just it's hard to imagine that, hard to wrap your mind around that. But yeah, man, I just listening to it again, I don't know what else to say. It's tough.
Yeah, I really don't have words for it. Almost I basically only listen to the games through radio, really. I don't really watch the games a whole lot, especially growing up, and even over the past couple of years, radio is my preferred method. It's somewhere behind me back here, but I've got my little $10 radio from Walmart that I literally just will sit and listen to a game for, and I'll follow the StatCast stuff on the screen, but yeah, I mean, that's just how I consumed games. I know it's not, everybody's watching the streams and stuff now, but it's so weird. It's crazy, and it's such a sad thing that he passed.
It is so young. I mean, I kind of have a similar situation where, I was, for a long time, I worked the closing shift at my job, and I would be there an hour and a half past closing, where it'd just be me and my department doing whatever I was supposed to do to finish up the day. And I would just have, and obviously can't watch anything because you're doing stuff, but I would have Dave and Andy in my ear, listening to the games as I was finishing up my day. And so many nights where I was just, they were my companionship as I was, trying to get through kind of a tough job, but I had them to listen, tell me about what was going on. And the beauty of what Andy was and what he could do is that I didn't feel like I was missing out by not watching the games. I didn't feel like I was missing anything at all, because I didn't need to see, because Andy would tell me exactly what was happening. And he would paint the picture in a way that I could only ascribe to be able to do as a broadcaster, an analyst, or whatever. He was gifted, and he left an impact on so many people beyond just his announcing. He was such a genuine and kind and real person. Every interaction I've ever read about with him, or ever heard someone talk about with him, is just so positive. And it's just, it's, the good ones are always gone too soon. And I'm just grateful that I was able to, hear him, that I was able to, be there live with him through so many of those games. I think I'm never going to get over not being able to hear, you know, Rays win, Rays win, Rays win is like iconic to me. And I'll never forget it. And it's going to be hard not hearing that again from him.
Yeah, it really is just, it's so surreal. And the Rays are, they're doing their first radio broadcast back on today at 2:30. They play the Marlins, I think, at 3
Yeah,
today.
the
So
Marlins.
they'll be, honoring him, celebrating his life. And I think it's, great that they're getting back into it, but it's never, it'll never be the same. Like, there's nothing you can do at that point. So yeah, just crazy. It's hard to even like talk about baseball after this. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, now we're moving on, and it's just, yeah, it's so, it feels weird and unnatural, but this whole thing is unnatural. Like, it's,
Yeah.
people aren't just supposed to be, here one day, gone the next. I know he was experiencing some health complications, but
Yeah.
nothing was indicative of something like this happening. So
No.
just thoughts with his family and everybody who worked so closely with him, like Neil and
Yeah.
Andy and all those
Yeah.
guys. So
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like for them and for his family. So definitely praying for them, thoughts with them. They, we lost a good one, and he was I can't imagine if he had this kind of impact on us, I can't imagine the impact he had on the people that was closest to him in his life. So just prayers to them. And hopefully won't one day, we'll get to maybe hear him call another one someday, maybe a big May up in the sky. But for now, just, hug your loved ones, celebrate, celebrate the game, celebrate, the enjoyment of baseball, the way he enjoyed baseball. Don't ever take any moment you have with the people you care about for granted, because you never know. So don't ever take it for granted.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, they'll be doing their best to celebrate and honor him during the game today, obviously, and throughout the season, and probably forever at this point. Like, yeah, it's just going to keep going on. So yeah, we do have some Rays baseball though to talk about.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to happen today, and we're going to get through all that. But this past week we had some pretty interesting things kind of on and off the field. A Curtis Mead extension is rumored right now.
Yes.
Jeff Passan, I don't know. I never
I think
bothered to.
it's passing.
Okay, I never bothered to learn how to say it. He's like the Adrian Wojnarowski or whatever of baseball Twitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, he tweeted that out, that there are extension talks with Curtis Mead, and he hasn't played in his first major league game yet. He's barely gotten like 100 something plate appearances in AAA. Like, he's the real deal. It kind of makes sense why they would, you know, suggest that he didn't play for Australia in the World Baseball Classic, that had him come back home to the States here and start working in spring training. And I think this is something that's been in the works for a while, because you don't just these talks with a rookie, or not even a rookie, a prospect who hasn't played, like, they just don't happen that quickly. So like, this is something that's been in the works. Really exciting. I'd love to see them get a deal done. I don't really know what it could look like. Maybe something like a Brandon Lau type deal, but yeah, I'm excited to see. Hopefully they can, work something out.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting when stuff like this comes out, because again, like, stuff like this doesn't come out unless people want it to come out. So I just think it's interesting that, like, the Rays are sending a message. I think, that they are looking to lock up this young core of talented players for an extended period of time, because they're saying we're building a window of success for us that is extending through these next couple of years, with the pitching we've signed, with the young, infield outfield talent that we've signed. We're building this window, and that's really exciting as a Rays fan, to feel like the team, the ownership, and the general manager have confidence in the abilities of the players we have to continue to build and continue to create this structure of this team moving forward. It's just really exciting. I think you're right on, hitting the nail on the head with like a Brandon Lau type extension. I think that's exactly what it's probably going to look like. And I would love to see it. It's kind of more like it just builds morale, I think, too, of like, we believe in this team, we believe in these players, and we think we're going to be successful.
Yeah, it definitely sends a message to a lot of the young guys who are, working hard just like Curtis Mead down there. So hopefully they get that done. Not a whole lot else. I know Yandy got hit on the hand by a pitch yesterday, and that kind of stirred things up, but he's fine.
Yeah.
X-rays were negative. I guess that's
Hmm.
kind of a headline, but the only other like bigger thing I have is that, I mean, it's big to me because I'm obsessed with it, but Jeffrey Springs with his new sweeper, like he was phenomenal. I'm going to talk about him later, but like that's, I mean, I
Just
don't want to I don't
disgusting.
want to say he's the best pitcher on the staff yet, but like I think this is going to be a topic in November. So I'll table that for now because nobody wants to hear it right now. Nobody's ready for it. But we're going to be talking about this in November. So just bookmark this podcast here.
Just bookmark it right there. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, we can save the talk about it more for later. But man, like, how good did he look? I mean, it was just like it was almost comical, like some of the stuff he was doing with the baseball and the way he was placing it. And I want to argue with you, and I probably will. That
Oh yeah, we will.
I will, but like, man, it's a little hard to argue after yesterday.
It,
That was beautiful.
it looked like he was playing a video game. Like it's crazy. So yeah. Yeah. Any other like big things that I missed? I don't know if there was anything like huge.
I don't. The only other big news right now is the WBC that's going
Right.
on
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sort of
Yeah. We should touch
ongoing.
on that.
And I think the person that I want to touch on is Yu Chang. Like, can we talk about that guy's World Baseball Classic so far? Just like, as of this morning, I believe they are still winning. I can't remember. I didn't check the score recently, but I think they're still winning their game after a Yu Chang grand slam yesterday hits the 2-run home run to tie the game. Like, and I did not expect that team to advance out of that group. And right now it kind of looks like they're gonna walk through this group and advance out of it, which is so exciting. And the atmosphere of those
Yeah.
games is like it's I mean, I would kill to be at those games. Like the atmosphere just looks phenomenal.
It reminds me of the 2010 World Cup, like that type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Just everything just means more. Like every ground ball, every pop up, every hit, every home run. Like it's so exciting.
It's so
I
much
love the
fun.
World Cup. It's my favorite sporting event ever. So like this is the World Baseball Classic is really close just in terms of the atmosphere, the environment. I don't really have like a favorite team. I don't really have much skin in the game. Like I don't care who wins that much. It's just so fun to watch. Bethencourt has been solid with
He has been,
Panama.
yes. Mhm.
La Sorsa looked pretty good in Italy. I think he only had like one appearance, but he looked pretty good out there. Aranda, Paredes, Randy all looked good in like their tune-up games with Mexico. Aranda especially is like he's just spraying line drives everywhere that are like 95 miles an hour. I'm excited
Yep.
about him. So, yeah.
Yeah. Former Rays legend Miles Mastrobuoni has also played well.
All right.
He had a couple nice hits and a couple nice infield plays as well.
Yeah, it's such a fun time. So it's yeah, I mean these guys are getting their work in still, which is nice too. So
Yes.
and we get to see like more younger guys and some other prospects maybe get brought into the major league camp here to kind of fill in.
Hmm.
So yeah. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it for the headlines though, so we can kind of get into our listener questions here. We actually have a couple things. I'm gonna save one of these for later because it goes into our topic. But our first one, or our topics for later. But our first one
Hmm.
here is from at I am the Hay King on Twitter. He said, "Do you think it's more likely that the Rays trade from their starting pitching depth or from the group of established major league starters this year?" Um, and we will see some logjam of. Okay, so he's basically like, we have a lot of pitching depth now.
Hmm.
We have good starters. We have good guys coming up. Do you think they're going to trade anybody from this pitching depth? Because there will be that log jam in 2024.
That's a really good question. Because it would hurt to like lose any of these guys like on an emotional level, because I feel like we've been following almost all of them now for a long time, and for any of them to be gone like would not make me happy. But at the same time, like I don't feel like you can put it out of the out of the realm of possibility, especially if the rotation, as it were, solidifies itself. I think there's a possibility, but like it would have to be the right deal. Like it would have to be some sort of like major return because, like, to me, the pitching is the calling card of the Rays. And if for them to give up or to move on from any of these starting pitchers where they put so much effort into, I mean, the only scenario in which that's happening is like, are we are getting an all-star back? Because I mean, I would assume it would be like a starting pitcher, package with a prospect or a reliever for like some sort of, all-star level bat. That's the only scenario in which I see that happening. And I mean, it's not impossible for that to happen. I just don't think it's I think that scenario is not like, I don't think it's very likely. I would be very surprised if they did that. It's not impossible because the Rays, they will take the opportunities as they come. But I would like, if we're rating on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it like a 2.5.
Yeah, I think like kind of like you said, like the Rays will take an opportunity if it comes up. The talks are always ongoing. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're Tyler Glasnow, Shane McClanahan, Yanni Chirinos, if some team is coming to the Rays and making an offer, the Rays are listening. So as much as some people don't want to hear that, like they listen to offers on everybody. So those talks are ongoing. So when something does need to happen, like say there's an injury or say everybody actually is healthy for once, because with pitching, it's kind of impossible. Like somebody is always going to be hurt. The talks are ongoing. So they are able, I think, to pull the trigger if needed. But for now, I don't think anybody's going anywhere anytime soon. Just because you don't want to trade away pitching depth when you're starting a season and other teams in the division are already experiencing some injury troubles. The Yankees are, they traded away pitching depth and they're in not a good spot right now. Honestly, they might be the third best team in this division on paper right now. I know baseball isn't played on paper, but like their injuries are really, really, like, I can't understate how significant they are. So yeah, I don't wish injuries on anyone, but like not upset about the Yankees too much, but also like that just means for the Rays, like you can't trade away pitching depth right now. Like you got to go all the way. You got to go 100% right out the gate. Like you can't afford to do that.
No, and I think that, like you're saying, there's an opportunity right now. Like with, I mean, you don't want to see any, again, obviously don't want to see anybody get hurt. But like if you were to stack up the Yankees rotation, their number 2 and 3 guys are gone, like for most of the season. Like I mean, Rodon is out for 10 days. Look, that injury, like I would be literally,
it's not going to be 10 days.
It's like forearm is like every baseball fan's worst nightmare because it's almost worse because it's like just tell us, just say it's gonna be Tommy John, get it over with.
Yeah.
Like don't like do this 10-day thing and then it's Tommy John a month later. Like that's brutal. I feel bad for him. He's pitching so well, and to have that injury happen is just awful. I hope he makes a full recovery from whatever it is. But like the Yankees are vulnerable right now. I kind of agree with you that the Yankees, their pitching is just, it's Garrett Cole. And I am not a Nestor. I don't think you are either. I am not a Nestor Cortez believer. I think he's
a little banged up too. I think he's not. I don't think he's going to be on like the IL probably to start the year. But like
he's not 100%.
He's not 100%.
No, like, and I think he's going to regress. I thought he was going to regress anyway. So like, it's a very scary territory right now for the Yankees. They really need Garrett. If Garrett Cole has any kind of like issue, which I mean, he's been really, really good. He's been a top 15 pitcher in baseball, but I don't know that he's been the number 1 in baseball guy that he has been, he was signed for in recent years. His ERA is not always as impressive. So like if he does not like lock in as their and really be their ace, they are vulnerable right now. And you have to take advantage of that. You have to come out hot and start the season. You have to put the pressure on them to either make a move or, or put pressure on their guys. Like you have to take advantage of that and bury them early in the season because you don't want them to get healthy and then it be close. Like you want to bury them so that you have cushion and later in the season, if they guys do get healthy. But like, yeah, I think starting pitching depth, you can never have enough of it. The only scenario in which they're trading starting pitching depth is if a MLB ready, I don't know, third base, or not even, I don't know, like a MLB ready corner outfield power bat is coming back. Like that's the only scenario in which they're trading starting pitching depth.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that anytime soon. But we do have another question that's similar to that. From at MLB Siradsky. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Kind of on the flip side, He says, "Who are your top 3 guys that are expendable in 2024 and beyond in the infield?" We've got Curtis Mead, Brandon Lau, tons of guys here. Aranda, Walls, Manzardo, Paredes, Yandy, Caminero, and Basabe eventually. I still think they're still, well, I mean, they're good, but they're still pretty far away. But basically saying, who are your top 3 expendable guys in the infield moving forward?
Oof. That's tough because, like, when you say all those names, it's like, I don't want to lose any of those guys. I like all those guys. Those are all really exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, uh, I mean, the one that, I mean, you didn't mention him, but the one that comes to mind the most is Brujan, because I feel like he's by far the most expendable, and not because he's not talented, because he is, but I feel like he's at a point in his development where he probably needs to be playing at the major league level. And I don't really feel like there's a spot for him on the Rays roster right now, but I do think there are spots for him on other teams' major league rosters. So I think that he's a great trade candidate, because I think he has a lot of value. And he could provide a lot of value for someone else. I don't think he could. I just don't know that he's providing a lot of value for us. And then, I mean, it's really, it's getting tough after that. I think a guy like Walls, as much as I love him as a player, I think he's got a lot of potential. When you're comparing him to guys who have legitimate, power and bat, pedigree, it's kind of hard to hold on to him. And then, I mean, after that, it gets really tough. Like, I mean, we're looking at, it's funny. Like I would have said Basabe before the spring training, and then now he's playing really well. And, and he's played really well in the minors as well. So like, he's, I kind of don't want to let go of him, because he's really, he's showing some really good stuff. I don't know. That third spot is tough. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I can pick a third one. That's tough.
Yeah, I'd probably say Brujan and Walls are definitely in that group. Aranda, just because we don't really know where the glove is going to be eventually. I think he can improve it maybe at like a first base spot, but first base DH, that's kind of like you don't really have much versatility at that point.
Right.
Just basically, they're going to listen to calls on every, so it could be Mead in 2 years. It could be, anybody. It's hard to say, but I think any 3 of like Basabe, Aranda, Brujan, Walls, like those would be, probably the 3. I think Caminero, his exit velocities and his batted ball quality as like a teenager, like you should not give that up. Cleveland really messed up. That was we're going to be talking about that trade in a couple of years about like what was Cleveland doing, but yeah, just any of those 4, I guess. But it ultimately, like, Wander is the only one that's untouchable because nobody can afford him. Like everybody else has a price. Like Wander, there's nobody has a farm system or anything like that is worth his contract and his talent and his projections. Like, so Wander's the only untouchable. Anybody else, but basically, yeah, I guess any of those 3 or 4 guys that I said.
Yep. I mean, I agree. I think that, I don't even know what a team could come to the table with that could be possibly worth Wander. Like there's nothing out there, especially considering the contract. I think maybe before the contract, there may have been some scenario.
Oh, yeah.
But now with that contract he's under, like, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, some people, you might say, well, Juan Soto just got traded, but that's a totally different scenario. Like he was, the contract situation was very different. Like, I mean, even, as much as I love Brandon Lau, you could make an offer that they would probably say yes to. I mean, it'd be be a steep offer, but it would be. But yeah, I think, Wander's the only untouchable, as much as I hate to say that, because I would be sad if any of those players left. Yeah. But like, Wander's the only untouchable.
Yeah, definitely. Last one here. I mean, we have like 1.5, I guess, but this one is from @BenBathBeyond, like that name. First of all, he said he liked my Mejia thing, which is cool. But he said he's been a fan of Mejia since he joined the Rays. Do you think he will be the opening day starting catcher, or will Bethancourt or Pinto have shown enough in spring training or World Baseball Classic? He said the position still seems wide open to him. So who's your opening day catcher, basically?
I agree with his assessment that I think it is somewhat open, but at the moment, I think Bethancourt has it. Yeah. I think the way he's performed and he's a little bit more well-rounded, I think, as a player than Mejia is right now. And I think Bethancourt's the opening day starter. However, I don't think that job is like unassailable. Like, I think Mejia could 100% earn the starting job at some point this season. And I would love to see it because I think that would be a very good thing if he's playing well enough to earn that starting job. But right now it's Bethencourt.
Yeah, I definitely say Bethencourt as well. I think Bethencourt and Mejia are like up here. I mean, like Bethencourt, Mejia, and then Pinto's like a little bit further down.
Yep.
It's nothing against Pinto. It's just like Bethencourt and Mejia are like, I mean, as much as I love and hate Mejia at the same time, like they're both proven major league catchers.
Yep.
That's really hard to come by, and to have two on your roster that can kind of do a little bit of everything. More so Bethencourt, but like Bethencourt's opening day starter for me. Like he's and the new stat that came out on Savant too about like the pitch blocking stuff. Like Bethencourt was phenomenal once he joined the Rays. Mejia is not that great. Bethencourt's got the better arm, the better bat. Pinto was okay blocking, really good framer. Pinto might be the best framer on the team, but framing might not matter in 2 years. So
yeah,
it's this is definitely like an open position, but I think for now it's pretty clear that those two guys are our top two. But beyond this season, I think it's going to start to look pretty different. Depending on how they do all these rule changes and how the rule changes go this year and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if if you ask me, could Mejia be the opening day starter next year? I would say, yes, he can be 100%. I mean, I would hope that he would continue to develop to the point where you would have to start him opening day next year. That would be my hope. But the nice thing about it too is this is a team that's going to give both of them opportunities throughout the season. It's not like they're just going to throw Bethencourt out there every single day. Like they're going to give both of them chances to continue to perform and continue to develop. And I think that's exciting because you're going to get to see what are they both capable of. And I'm excited to see where that lands them postseason time. Like where are they, who is starting game one of a postseason series? That's interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't Bethencourt get both games?
He did
last year. Okay.
He did.
Yeah. So I think that kind of tells us like where the Rays are at. I know I really like what Mejia is doing with the bat, like the batted ball quality and the turning into like a BABIP kind of guy, but that's still, it's a process. He's not going to do that overnight. So, we'll see where that's at by the end of the season, but these were some great questions. So thank you all for sending those in. Remember, you can send us questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, hypotheticals, whatever. We'll talk about anything. We'll shout you out. And just follow us at RBLR Sports on social media to let us know all your thoughts, questions, opinions, ideas. That's pretty much it. I didn't have any more DMs or anything, unless you got something too, because I know people just kind of like reply all over the place on there. So,
dude, I am not as popular as the great Ben Whitelaw, so I do not have the DMs yet. One day I will have the DMs and the comments.
Yeah, it's mostly just like a DM. It's like Basabe is really good, or like Josh Lowe sucks. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna ignore like half.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess we can get to our spring training standout type of people now. That's kind of cool. There's been some really great players this week, and just in spring training overall, we finally got like enough data and stuff to really start like looking at trends and things. So. Who's someone that stood out to you this week? Either good or bad, pitching, batting, doesn't matter, whatever order you want to do this in.
So the one that stood out to me, and we've said his name a couple times today already, is Basabe. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I knew that he existed and he was a shortstop in our organization, but I hadn't really focused on him too much until spring training, where he's been playing really well. He's been doing really good things with the bat all throughout spring training. I kind of went and I sort of went back and was like, well, it's is this abnormal for him? Is he? But no, it's like that's kind of what he is. He's kind of a 350 hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot. Strikes out about the same, which is really good to see. Like I think I was looking at his statistics in Double-A last year. He struck out 25 times, walked 24 times, and spring training it's a small sample size, but he's walked twice, struck out twice. Like that's a really good quality to have as a hitter. And I'm excited to see, you know, now that I've sort of been kind of clued in on him a little bit through spring training, I'm going to be watching him this year in the minors to see, you know, it's tough because again, we've talked about, you know, there's this log jam that exists right now in the middle infield for the Rays. And it'll be interesting to see as he develops, what do they do with him? You know, is this someone who he's going to play well enough that you have to give him at bats at the major league level at some point? Or is this someone who's going to develop into a strong player that then is a like a linchpin in a trade that's down the line somewhere? I just think he's a really interesting player to watch in the Rays organization.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like that he was actually the bat that I had highlighted this week too. Just because I have a little bit of a pump the brakes type thing on him, so I don't want to make anybody upset, but I did have some stuff I wanted to talk about. But yeah, he's like overall, like I have nothing but good things to say about him. Like he plays, you know, third, shortstop, second, really fast, quick hands. He could move to a corner outfield spot. I don't think he's like a Greg Jones, like center field transition type candidate. I don't think he's like that good of a fielder, but he's got like enough of an arm. I think he could fit in a corner outfield spot. So he has a path to the majors. It's, you know, maybe going to be kind of wonky, but he'll be there in 2024. I don't see him making it up this year. He hasn't played in AAA yet, and that's going to be a big test for him. But in the spring right now, he's red hot. He's actually second behind Wander in the team on weighted on base average. He's got a 591 weighted on base average. That's in the 95th percentile in, you know, all of spring training. A 1388 OPS. I didn't have a percentile for that, but it's probably somewhere in like the 95th percentile range. So he's been a better hitter than 95% of guys in spring training. And there have been like
a lot,
500 something players that are taking at bats. So he's been really, really good. Like you said, plate discipline is really nice. I don't particularly love how he does his plate discipline based on some of his batted ball data. It seems like he's more of like a swing late kind of guy. And like, you know, he's really letting the pitches get deep, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but this is why he hits so many ground balls and so many balls the opposite way and so many ground balls the opposite way just in general. So he's got a 46.2% opposite field hit rate. So like he's hitting the ball to the other way 46.2% of the time, which isn't terrible, but like that really limits your offensive production, like your ceiling. So that rate that he has is in the 7th percentile, really bad. In 2022 in the minors, he was in the 9th percentile. So like he's really not doing anything a whole lot different in that way. He swings late, so he doesn't swing and miss. I'd like to see him maybe, you know, take a little bit more swing and miss and start pulling the ball, because that's really the only way. I mean, not the only way you can be a productive hitter, but it's like it raises your ceiling a lot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as he moves up in the Rays organization, how they are going to develop him. Like, what are the things they're going to say? Hey, you need to try this. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Do they do, like you're saying, are they going to advise him and say, hey, you know, I think some of it too is, I think young players, they want to establish themselves in their role. So maybe they're playing it safe is maybe the wrong word, but like they're kind of going with what they do well. And I think at a certain point, the Rays are going to empower him to say, hey, you're here, you're on this team, you can fail. And we're not going to send you back down to single A. Like, we want you to develop. So try this. Even if you strike out 10 times in a row, it's okay. We want to see what you can do development wise. And I think that's something that could be a piece for him, is when he gets, as the Rays are going to invest some confidence in him to see how he's willing to make those adjustments.
Yeah, it'll really be interesting. I don't know how good his pitch recognition is. So, you know, we don't really have data on that, or I haven't heard like any stories from anyone, but it seems like it's good enough. His launch angles have been decent this spring. They're like around like 10 to 15%. They're not super tight. Like he's kind of just hitting, like he'll hit a really bad ground ball and then hit a pop up and then maybe a line drive here and there. But they're better than what they've probably been in the past. His ground ball rate this spring has been 30.8%, which is in the 79th percentile. His ground ball rate last year was 55.8%, which was in the 2nd percentile in the minors. So that's a really significant change, going from a 2nd percentile to a 79th percentile. Obviously, small sample size. And you can't draw a definitive conclusion from that. But it seems like he is catching the ball out in front of the plate a little bit more, which I think is what they're trying to do with him. It's really hard to say because I don't think they're going to have him do a whole swing change as a 21, 22-year-old. Like that's
Probably
maybe
not.
like a last ditch effort. I think it's more of a pitch recognition and like a swing decision type thing. So we'll see how it goes with him, but he has been great this spring. Last thing I have on him is he's got a 10.5% whiff rate, which seems really good, but it's actually in the 59th percentile. But that's actually kind of exciting to me because he's swinging and missing more than 41% of other hitters, so it's like kind of average, but like that's better than what he did in the minors. Like he was swinging and missing less, so it seems like he's not afraid to swing and miss, basically is what I'm saying. So I like where this is going. I don't think we'll see him in the majors this year, but it's definitely something to watch for.
Yeah, it's sort of exciting to see more players getting into the mix and like making a case, because like these are exciting things to watch. I mean, you might say, well, man, what are we going to do with all these guys? But like that's a good problem to have. I would much rather have to like, what are we going to do with all these guys than, man, who's going to play shortstop? Like that's we are never going to have to worry about who's going to play shortstop for like a long time, which is really nice. I think there's a lot of teams that would really would kill to have that. Who have you been watching?
I mean, like for pitching, I want to say Springs, but like that's super. It's like so obvious, but it's also like he had 11 whiffs and he threw 40 pitches yesterday. He got 11 whiffs. Like that's not like 40 swings and he got 11 whiffs. Like that's 40 pitches. Like that's insane. Like those are he's putting up video game numbers. He had his 2 slider shapes yesterday, like his standard one and then the sweeper. I was gonna have like graphs for that, but you've all seen it on Twitter by now. But he also still has a cut slider that he didn't throw yesterday, so he's got 3 distinct slider shapes. Arm action is so good on all of those. He just kind of whips it across his body with that sweeper. 58% zone contact rate is another video game number. He has been the best pitcher in Rays camp this spring, and I'm really excited to see how that translates to the regular season because this is his like first full spring training with the Rays. I know it's his second, or he's going into his 3rd season with the Rays, but like so he was like traded early on, like 2 seasons ago, so he didn't get like a full camp. Last season, he was coming back from his torn ACL, didn't have a full camp. Now he has a full camp, contract extension, sweeper, cut slider, regular slider, changeup, fastball is fantastic. There's nothing that he does wrong right now.
Like, he was playing with his food yesterday. Like that's what it's what it looked like. Yeah. I mean, there was some of those pitch locations where like he was like backdooring, front dooring people. He got like, I think 3 of his strikeouts were swinging, and the other 2 were like just sticking it right on the inside of the plate, at the outside of the plate, and just guys staring down at a strike and walking off. Like it was a thing of beauty to watch.
Yeah, it was just it's crazy. Like he's an artist. Like and he's just like, sitting like 91, 92 with the fastball, just blowing it by people because he gets like that low release point, so it like travels up, and it's so fun to watch. I'm so excited to watch him this year, and I know we'll have some arguments about it during the season, but like I think by November it's gonna be like Springs, McClanahan, Glasnow, Rasmussen, Eflin. Like I think, well, maybe Glasnow could pass McClanahan. I don't know. We haven't really seen like Glasnow like fully, put it together for an extended period of time. But Jeffrey Springs, like we're gonna have a real conversation about him being the ace of this staff by November.
Well, and I think what is so dangerous about this Rays staff is, imagine you're a team playing them in a 3-game set. Game 1, you have to face, like, especially considering the injuries, right? Game 1, you face Shane McClanahan, fireballing left-hander, just throwing absolute gas at the top of the zone with nasty changeup. Then Game 2, you face this wily dude who's like putting balls all over the place and making you look bad, like putting balls on your chest that you're swinging through. Like, and then Game 3, it's Tyler Glasnow throwing 100 miles per hour right at the top of the zone. Like like as a hitter, how do you get comfortable in a series against them? Because they're not the same. None of their pitchers are the same at all. They're all different profiles of like the way they do things and what they're going to attack you with. And you can't get comfortable. You can't get in rhythm. They're all going to disrupt you in a different way. It's just such a hard rotation to face, in my opinion. And that's why like this rotation is so underrated right now, because people are sleeping on Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen. Like it's going to be like, there's going to be some video game numbers put up by this staff. I think this is going to be by mid-season, it's going to be undisputedly the best staff in baseball.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be one of the best in Rays history, if not the best, when you know all the dust settles. Like you've got Shane McClanahan. He'll be the opening day starter. Like I feel pretty confident about that. Like he was the best pitcher on the team last season. Springs was very close. I think Springs could pass him this year. It's not, a contest, but it'll be fun to pay attention to. And then you got Jeffrey Springs, number 2. Rasmussen is a pretty clear number 3. I think he's still a bit ahead of Eflin, depending on what, right. Eflin does with his development. Eflin at the 4, like he's maybe a 2 or a 3 on most other staffs. And then you've got, pick either Yanni or Patino. Maybe Taj Bradley gets a spot start at some point. Like he's been phenomenal in spring. Like he just lives off of pop-ups. It's so much talent. Everybody does like their one thing really well, and then they have all these other tools, and they're all open to growing and learning new things. Like Jeffrey Springs has gone through like he has 3 slider shapes now. He had 1 when he came to the Rays. Like it's crazy. So excited about all this pitching depth. The bullpen is still phenomenal too, but like we've got like 6 or 7 starting pitchers that could fit in a rotation at some point. So
absolutely
good problem to have.
Absolutely. And my other guy that I've been excited about this spring training is also kind of slotting into that, and that's Luis Patino, because I think he's been performing well, and that's what I really wanted to see out of him, because I would love, like, I think we both agree that Yanni is the most likely person to kind of be in that 5th spot in the rotation, at least to start the season. But I would love for Patino to pitch so well that he pitches into that spot, because I think he has so much potential. And I'm just looking, he's probably the person I'm watching the closest this spring training, because I want to see, can he earn a spot in the starting rotation, or at least be like, or at least be on the opening day roster. That's kind of my number one thing I'm watching for the rest of spring training now that Tyler's out.
Yeah, I think, Kevin Cash said Luis Patino will be stretched out as a starter. He did walk a couple guys in his last start against the Phillies, from what I remember. Yeah, he walked like 2 guys in the first inning, but he really settled in. Like his pitch shapes were really, really consistent, which is great for him, because that was always kind of like his inconsistency was really like his downfall. Not that it was like horrible before, but he's really like he's just becoming mature and more consistent, and that's such a good thing for him. So I'm looking forward to the data that we're going to continue to get on him, because I think his changeup sinker combo is a really nice way to handle left-handed batters. So looking forward to that. We'll see how it happens. And no, that's another great pitcher to watch, though, for sure.
Yeah, and one more quick note on that is that I think actually, like, you don't want to walk guys, but the fact that he was walking those 2 guys and then recovered and had a good salt, that's a good thing for him, because his one thing is he has a potential, has a proclivity for, if things go wrong, it snowballs, and like he looks lost. So the maturity to say that didn't go well, I'm still going to continue to stick with my game plan and continue to perform. That is what we want to see from him, and so that's what's exciting to me.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. I don't have the exact numbers on it, but the few starts that he had last year and in previous years where it was like, when it was bad, it was really bad. Like really it would kind of just melt down and blow up. So if he can avoid that and just have like a normal bad start and not a complete meltdown, like that's awesome, because he's really is someone, he has the talent to take over a game. Like he could just, out of nowhere fire off like 5, 6, 7 innings of shutout baseball. Like it's nobody's business. So he definitely has the potential for that, and I'm excited about him. Bullpen battle stuff is kind of heating up too, with Sean Armstrong possibly not being ready to start the season.
Yeah.
Ben Heller might be my new favorite guy to kind of step into that role. He's got a 62.5% zone whiff rate so far in the spring. So not just like swing and miss in the zone, That's the best in spring training out of all pitchers who have faced at least 10 batters. So Ben Heller, watch out for him. He's throwing like a 97-mile-an-hour sinker. Kevin Kelly's been good. A lot of the guys have been good, but like Ben Heller has really, really impressed me out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and I think again we keep talking about it, but like that we have so many options that we're not like, well, I guess we'll put this guy in because we got to put somebody in there. Like, no, we have guys who are all performing at a high level and are fighting for that last spot. It's just exciting to watch. I feel like there's been times in spring training where it's just kind of been like, well, I guess we'll watch this because real baseball isn't on yet. But like this is really exciting stuff we're seeing, where real battles and like battles that could have serious effects on the season, not in a sense of like, well, this guy has to be like a major contributor, but like filling in the edges of the roster to create a real actual like picture of how good this team can be. Like it's just exciting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And something else that's really exciting is that we are selling t-shirts and other, I guess, just t-shirts, I guess, on shop.rblrsports.com. You can use promo code FLAPPY, that's FLAPPY. Buy a shirt, buy 2, buy 3, 4, 5. I could keep counting. I'm really good at it, but you don't need me to count. You can just go to shop.rblrsports.com, buy some stuff. You should do that because it helps us help you by giving us the financial freedom to buy a uranium mine, maybe in like Canada or something, and then we can really start making some money. So we're going the Tampa Bay Sports podcast to uranium mine Emperor pipeline. We're going to put that on a shirt next.
Okay, Dr. Doom. All right. I guess that's the plan. I didn't know that. It's good to know. Good to know.
Oh yeah, Eureka has like a nice like 7-year plan for that, where we're gonna be in charge of like I think 80% of the world's uranium supply by 2037. So, we're gonna move the Rays to Latveria. I don't know.
Latveria. Yeah.
Okay. I have family heritage from Latvia, so I just assumed I'm going back. Okay, good to know. Got some good trivia stuff.
Dr. Doom trivia for you out there.
The nerds get it. That's Eureka's words, not mine. All right, so I guess we could do the opening day roster power rankings thing if I'm good to share my screen here. So I closed the survey this morning, so like we don't get any random responses like as we're doing this right now. So let me make sure I get the right screen. Don't want to share that. That's just my notes. Never mind. Okay, so I have the screen here that Eureka is probably gonna project so everybody can see it. But we've got our opening day roster, crowdsourced power rankings thing, whatever. Beautiful. I love how that looks there. So 32 responses this week. Here's our starting rotation. Any thoughts on these guys here? We've got McClanahan, number 1. I'll be honest, I'm the one who said Springs as my first choice. I filled it out this morning. I knew it wasn't going to fundamentally change things, but I did just want to put it out there. So McClanahan, Springs, Rasmussen, pretty solid at number 3 there. Eflin, a solid 4th choice. Patino moving up a little bit. He kind of jumped over Yanni from last week. I mean, it's really close, but Patino does have like the more like tighter range there. And then Chirinos has been dropped as low as like 7th, 8th, 9th. So Bradley moved up a little bit too. He jumped over Fleming. I don't expect Bradley to be on the opening day roster, but he's getting some love, and as he should, because he's been great. So
yeah, he's been performing well. Fleming has not been performing that well, and so that's understandable to me. I think that everything else in here is pretty. I think again the Patino performing well is what I think it's sort of what Rays fans are rooting for. So I'm not surprised to see that movement up.
Yeah, definitely. I think Fleming pitches today, so that should be interesting to see. I'm still looking for some kind of cutter or arm slot change, or maybe just get really good with the sweeper. He's got potential. He's got great command, but he definitely needs something other than sinker changeup to get through a lineup. So, but this makes sense. I mean, we've got a battle for the 5th spot, and we've got a battle for the 5th spot right here on the survey. So, good stuff from Rays fans. Onto the bullpen here. Top 7 to 8 of these guys probably going to make it. depending on injury, maybe more. I dropped Armstrong off of here because he is he's likely to start the season on the IL. So we've got Fairbanks, pretty clear number 1, Adam, pretty clear number 2, Clevenger, strong 3. Beeks is a pretty strong 4, and then it kind of drops off a little bit with Poche, maybe in like people are saying the 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 range. Kevin Kelly has been as high as 4th, which is interesting, but he's still kind of in like the 5, 6, 7 range.
Yeah.
Ryan Thompson, I don't think we've seen too much of him, but
We haven't, not yet.
He's good. He's fine. Ben Heller jumped up a little bit here just because I think people are listening to me with my Ben Heller propaganda. He's really great. Trevor Kelly's been good too, and Kyle Crick is starting to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
He wasn't fantastic, but like he's really growing into it with this new cutter that he's got. So yeah, any thoughts on the bullpen here?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is what kind of I expected. Don't
Yeah.
have a lot of beef with any of these. I think that, I'm not very high on Thompson right now. So I would prefer, personally, I'd like to see Heller get those at bats or those, opportunities over Thompson, at least right now. So, I mean, I would like to see him Heller continue to move up. And I think Crick is I think there's a chance Crick gets some play at the major league level this year. So that's exciting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it's kind of like what you said earlier, like none of these are bad options. Like, I mean, the top 5, top 6, really, that's probably going to be on the opening day roster. But like any of these guys pitching, after Kevin Kelly, like in a lower leverage situation, like,
yeah, like
go
8th
for
inning, getting us to, or 7th inning or something. Yeah. Like these are all good options.
Like the Rays there's not going to be a time this season where they roll out like a below average pitcher. Like everybody's going to be able to do something well. So it's encouraging. It's exciting.
It is.
Catchers, nothing changed. Same as before. Bethancourt 1, Mejia a solid 2. Some people said he's a 3, but that was not me. I'm not that low on him. I like Mejia a lot. Pinto's a solid 3. People like Blake Hunt, but he's had a really, really bad spring.
It's been rough.
I'm not going to put too much stock into it, but he's got like 5 batted balls already. Then an average exit velocity is like in the low 80s. Like, don't really know what's going to happen with him. He's a really good defender, but not a good start to the spring. Roberto Alvarez, Logan Driscoll, Nick Dini, and then I think Zach Collins, maybe. I'm not sure. Bethancourt and Mejia, Pinto, like those 3 are going to be the ones that see time at the major league level this year. So I don't really have many thoughts on the catcher situation here.
No, not really. Pinto's has been playing well, so that's good to see. He's been getting the bat on the ball pretty well. That's been good to see. But it would take something catastrophic to move either of the 2 starters from that position. So
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, with both of them out with the World Baseball Classic now, we do get to see Pinto in an extended look. So I like seeing him. I think he's a really cool, fun catcher, but it's a pretty established catching duo, I'd say.
I would agree.
Infielders, this gets a little bit more exciting for sure than just the catching situation. Obviously, we've got Wander. He's primarily the first choice, some second choice, and then we've got Yandy, Brandon Lau. I usually put him. I've been putting him first and second when I've done this because I still think he's either the first or the second best infielder on this roster. It's him and Wander. I kind of go back and forth with. Paredes is next, and then there's the drop off we see from the top 4, and then we've got like Walls, Aranda, Brujan, and now Mead kind of creeping up a bit more. So this 5 through 8 spot is definitely something to watch because
it is.
That's the battle for like this 1, maybe 2 infield spots depending on injury. I think Walls said he's going to be ready for opening day. Cash said he thinks he'll be ready for opening day, so we can kind of take his word for it. But it's still going to be interesting to see how Paredes, Brandon Lau, Yandy, and Wander, those guys are safe. But then the Walls, Aranda, Brujan, and Mead kind of cluster is interesting.
It is, and Mead is playing himself into that role. It's like listen, you can only watch him destroy baseball so long until you're like, well, maybe we should throw this guy on the roster. Like and I saw Walls taking ground balls on Twitter the other day or yesterday. So like, I think he will be ready for opening day. I actually think if for some reason Walls was not ready for opening day, it gets really interesting because I think you almost like, to me, if Walls isn't ready for opening day and you have that other spot, I think you almost have to put Mead up there and give him a cup of coffee and just let him see how it goes. I mean, that's what I would do because like, I think that's the spot is open. So I don't know, but it's really exciting. And I am very intrigued to see if Mead can continue this level of play and really make it hard for the Rays to put him back down in Durham.
Yeah, definitely. I think if the contract extension happens, I think
yeah.
I mean, depending on like the language in the contract, he could very likely, his service time could start. So you might as well put him on the major league roster if that extension happens. So
it's true.
That's going to be really, really interesting to follow. But yeah, another good position group battle in the infield there.
Beal out there lastly, is heresy, but anyway.
Yeah, right. Last thing here is the outfielders. Randy, clear number 1 still. Siri, pretty clear number 2 because he is the center fielder. But Margot crept up a little bit. I think people are remembering that like he's a really good defender and a really good hitter. Pretty much like platoon neutral. Like he can hit righties, he can hit lefties. Definitely a bit better against lefties, but he can do both. Love to see this year. Josh Lowe, really just his spring has been fantastic. He is earning a roster spot right now. I personally think he's already earned it. I think he's going to be on the opening day roster, but man, that's so exciting.
It is, and I think like you're saying, he is making it really hard for Kevin Cash to say, "We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Go head back down to North Carolina."
Yeah.
Like you're making it really hard on them to say that. I also, to Margot, to me he's number 2. Like I love Siri. I love, he is not there yet as a bat to where Margot is. So I mean, for me, it's a Rosarina, Margot, Siri. But I cannot wait to see what happens with Josh Lowe and Rayleigh. And it's, I have a soft spot for Harold, but it's just like, you can't look at what, Rayleigh and Josh Lowe are doing and feel good about giving the spot to Harold over them right now. It's a really tough decision for the Rays. And I think there's a really good chance somebody gets traded here because like you hate to just lose any of these guys for nothing. I mean, you won't lose Josh Lowe for nothing, obviously, but you hate to lose either of Rayleigh or Ramirez for nothing. So it's kind of like you kind of got to do something there. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Rayleigh is out of options, so I think he will start the opening. I think he'll be on the opening day roster. I don't know how long he'll stick. I'm excited about what he's doing, but like long term, I do like Josh Lowe more than Luke Rayleigh. Like I know I've kind of been like a Luke Rayleigh crazy person, but because he's fun and it's cool, it's interesting what he's doing. But like I don't see him sticking like after this year. So if anything, like I think he makes the opening day roster. I think he's around for a bit, and then maybe like when Aranda's ready, he comes up. And Harold is really kind of limited to DH duty. Like we've got better outfielders, we've got better infielders like defensively. Unless there's like an emergency and he has to fill in, I don't see him playing a corner outfield spot or first base. He's limited to DH. He's not that great of a hitter. He was overperforming like drastically. He's coming back to earth. The high is wearing off. Like, I don't know if they could really get much value, if anything, for him. He's probably going to be on the opening day roster as the DH, but maybe a similar type thing to Luke Rayleigh, where like he doesn't fit in the future plans because he's not that versatile and he's not that good. Like Luke Rayleigh can be good for like, lightning in a bottle for a couple of weeks. Harold could do the same, but like there are a million right-handed hitters who smash the ball into the ground and, can only play one position. So yeah, I'm extremely low on Harold. I'm sorry for anybody that likes him, but he'll be on the roster, but I don't think for very long.
Yeah, no, I agree, unfortunately.
And he's blocking Mead. Like if Harold is gone, Mead is on the opening day roster for me, 100%. Like
100%.
And I know who I'd rather have on the opening day roster.
Yeah, and I don't. Anybody who thinks, anybody who would rather have Harold over Mead is lying to themselves.
I mean, I could see like maybe because he's possibly considered like a safer option, but like I'd rather take my chances with a little bit of swing and miss than like a ground ball double play every other at bat. Like it's I don't love Harold,
Well, and
honestly.
if we were just desperate for like people who could hit the ball and put it in
Yeah,
play,
which we were
like
last
which
year.
we were last year, that's why
Yeah.
he was on the team and performing so well. And he was great. And you know what? And again, like I actually am a little bit higher on his value from a trade perspective because I think there are teams out there who need somebody who can put the ball in play and get on
Yeah.
base. So I do think there is some value for him from a trade perspective, which is why I kind of have him as a potential trade. He could get traded because I think there are teams that could use that. So I don't know. I think we could see him get moved.
Yeah, I mean like it sounds like I'm making fun of him, but I'm not when I say this, but like they could trade Harold for like a 24-year-old A-ball pitcher coming off Tommy John surgery and like, just kind of like that kind of like lottery
Yeah,
ticket type trade. Like who knows? Like just try to get something for him.
absolutely.
So we'll see. Really great stuff though in that survey. So thank you all for filling that out this week. I'll be sure to continue to pump that out. Reminding everybody after every game. I got to start getting on Reddit more so we can get more responses. But I really like doing that. It's a nice way to like get a snapshot of what happened in the week and like how fans are feeling about roster situation, all that stuff. I know injuries kind of make it a little tricky to do that, but Walls is doing baseball activities like you said. He was taking ground balls. Yandy, he was hit by a pitch like we said before. Nothing to worry about there. Armstrong is one to watch though because they don't seem like he's going to be ready for opening day. Calvin Fauché actually threw live BP and Cash said he looked great. So I think Fauché might need to get added to that survey, but there are a lot of weeks ahead. So, we'll kind of see how the bullpen and infield spots shake up, but that's pretty much it for the injuries though. There's nothing really new happening out there.
No, like not really any updates on Tyler or anything like that. So,
No.
nothing major.
He's be chilling.
He'll be chilling.
Yeah. The on Fangraphs they updated like their layouts for the leaderboard. So much nicer, way cleaner. They added pitching bot and stuff plus grades now. So like I'm in heaven. I'm going crazy with that stuff. The filters are great. I wish they would do it with like a splits leaderboard thing and then maybe give us access to more minor league data, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Fangraphs is looking good. Savant updated some stuff too. Like all the databases are getting ready for the season. So fun stuff, but that's like the only other news I really have.
No, yeah, and and again, it's just today's an exciting day. We got World Baseball Classic. Team USA is playing for the first time today. Team Dominican Republic is playing for the first time today. So we're gonna see Wander today. We'll maybe see some Jason Adam action sometime today. It's gonna be and I really and I don't know if I hope that Wander gets to at least a couple starts over Pena at shortstop. Like, I feel like I almost am like, is there a situation where Rodney's like, well, I can't start Wander because it's going to look bad because he's my shortstop. But like, come on, he's better than Pena. He needs to be starting. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, as long as he gets his work in, I'm not going to be too upset. But like, I do take it a little personally when I see those like graphics or like just random people on Twitter. They're like, yeah, Jeremy Pena is the Dominican shortstop. Like, no, he's not.
No, I take it very personally.
No.
I take it 100% personally.
He's so. I mean, he's good, but like compared to Wander, like it's no contest. So
there is nothing and maybe this is rude, but there is nothing that Pena does better than Wander.
No, absolutely.
There is nothing that Pena does better than Wander. Period. So like, Wander needs to be starting. That's the.
I mean, if Jeremy Pena could somehow find a way to like, follow, subscribe, and share our content at RBLR Sports on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, maybe I would give Pena the edge, but Wander would share us. So Wander would share our stuff. You should share our stuff. You should like and subscribe to everything we do. You should give us 5-star reviews because that's what Wander would do. So maybe we could get a shirt that would be like, what would Wander do? But like WWD. Yeah, right.
WWWD.
What would Wander? Yeah, WWW. Oh yeah, what would Wander Franco? I think we can include an F there because WWWD is just, it doesn't roll as nicely.
WWWFD.
Actually, yeah, I don't know. We'll workshop that, but yeah, basically that was my way of telling you to follow, share. Sharing is the most important thing. because that
Sharing
helps
is
us kind
caring.
of get around. Sharing is caring. We're on the iHeartRadio app, Apple, Google Podcast. YouTube is our thing now. So we had that really nice video tribute to Dave Wills at the beginning here. So
Yeah.
definitely check us out on YouTube.
Mhm.
Excited for that game today. Looking forward to the radio broadcast.
Yes.
And that is all. So go Rays, everybody.
Raise up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.